Hey y'all, today we're making more homemade candy bars. So first up, we are going to be making Snickers. All right, y'all, a bunch of y'all asked for this when I made my last candy bar video. These two, actually, a lot of y'all asked for. Y'all did ask for others too, and they are on my list. I am going to get to them, I promise, but give me a little time. I can't have 500 candy bars at my house. So in a microwave safe bowl, you're going to add 2 cups of chocolate chips. I'm using milk chocolate. You can use semi-sweet if that's what you prefer. And to that, I added 3 tablespoons of creamy peanut butter. Yes, I'm using store-bought peanut butter. When I have a week or so where I'm using a lot of peanut butter in recipes, I just need to have the ease of going and just grabbing it from the store. But you absolutely can use the homemade peanut butter that I showed y'all how to make. You can make that, use that in these recipes. Or in this recipe. So I heated that up for 30 seconds and then I stirred it up and then I heated it for another 30 seconds and then I'm just going to mix it up until all my chocolate chips are nice and smooth. Now you can do this over a double boiler if you don't like a microwave, don't have a microwave, just prefer to do it on the stove. You absolutely can do that. I like the ease of doing it in my microwave. So I am using these silicone candy bar molds. I got them off of Amazon. I will link them down below for y'all. So these are not normal size candy bar molds, in my opinion. These are more like a king size candy bar mold, but it's what I had, so that's what I'm using. And so both of these recipes are going to make 8 candy bars, but mind you, they're very large candy bars, so you could absolutely make a lot more smaller candy bars. So I am just equally distributing my chocolate into all 8 of these little silicone molds. Now you can also do this if you don't have candy bar molds. You can do this like on a cookie sheet or a 9x13 pan or whatever and just layer everything and then cut them into bars. But because I had these silicone molds already, I wanted to make these where I wouldn't have to dip these in chocolate. So I spread them out just to make sure I had a good layer on the bottom. And then I'm going to take my little silicone spatula that I'm working with right there, and I'm going to go up the sides of this mold. You're going to see me do it here in just a second, because I thought it's going to be, for me, because y'all know I struggle with dipping stuff and it just annoys me. I do it because sometimes the recipe just calls for it, but I'd rather not if I don't have to. So I'm taking the chocolate and I'm just going to take my little silicone spatula that I'm using and I'm going to rub the chocolate up all 4 sides of that mold to sort of make like a little chocolate bowl, if you will. And don't worry, all of the printable recipes will be down in the description box for y'all as usual if I misspeak something or you miss a detail that I say. It'll all be down there. So once I rubbed it up the sides of the mold, I needed to add just a tiny bit more to the bottom to make sure that my bottom was completely coated. You don't want this super thick because we have a lot of layers in a Snicker bar, but you do want it to be where it's going to hold on to the other ingredients you add. So you can see I had a few little spots I missed. I went back and kind of touched those up. These don't have to be perfect, y'all. They do not. You can see they're all they're not smooth. It'll be just fine. So I'm going to put those in the freezer for about 15 or 20 minutes just to let my chocolate completely set up. So while my chocolate is setting up, we're going to start our nougat layer. So you're going to need 1 cup of powdered sugar. Y'all know I make my own powdered sugar, and I normally add cornstarch to it because of, it's storing it. It keeps it from clumping. But on the offhand chance you're using store-bought powdered sugar, or you didn't add any cornstarch or arrowroot or whatever to your powdered sugar when you made it, it may clump up a little bit. So just sift it just to make sure you don't have any lumps. I sift it even if I make it because I don't want to get out of the habit of sifting it and end up with chunky stuff if I ever have to use the store-bought stuff. You know what I mean? So to our powdered sugar, 1 cup of powdered sugar, we're adding 1/4 cup of peanut butter. You're going to add peanut butter several times in different parts of this recipe, so just keep it on standby. Then we're going to add 1 entire 7-ounce container of marshmallow cream, marshmallow fluff, whatever you call it, wherever you're from. You're going to add that right into your bowl. You can make marshmallow fluff too, I'm sure. Now, we've made marshmallows together, but I haven't made like the marshmallow fluff. I mean, maybe we'll do that one day. Not today, but maybe one day. So anyway, you're just going to mix this together. Now, I didn't use my mixer because the marshmallow is so sticky. I thought it was just going to kind of gum up my mixer. So I just used a little elbow grease, and it does take a little elbow grease. And you just keep mixing and keep mixing and keep mixing. I had powdered sugar all over me. But you're just going to keep mixing until it forms like this little dough ball. And it won't be sticky anymore. I mean, it will be on the inside, but like you see, it's not sticking to my silicone spatula, like I'm able to actually move it around. So that is our nougat layer, y'all. Who knew? It's delicious too. So now our chocolate should be ready. We're going to pull our chocolate out of the freezer. And as you can see, it's nice and set up. And we've got our little chocolate boats right there, ready for the next layer. And I just kind of gave it a little test to make sure it was going to come out of my silicone mold. So you're just going to take, I don't know, maybe a couple of tablespoons of your nougat mixture. You really can use it however much you want. Now, I had to kind of be careful because I only have so much room in these molds, and Snickers has a lot of layers. So we've got chocolate, and then we're adding the nougat, then we have to add peanuts, and then caramel, and then chocolate again. So I didn't want to run out of room with all the other stuff I had to add. But if the nougat is your favorite part of a Snickers, then you add as much in there as you want to. If you want one candy bar that's nothing but nougat and chocolate, then you just go ahead and make it. But did I say you can also make this like in a 9x13 pan or something, and just put the chocolate down, then put the nougat down, and then cut these into bars? Again, I didn't want to do that because I don't know. I just want them to be more candy bar-like without me having to do that. So anyway, you're just going to split your nougat up until you've added it to all of your little chocolate molds. And then we're going to add the peanut layer. Now, this is another one. The best thing about homemade stuff is you can do as little or as many as you want. If the peanuts is your favorite part, then you put as many peanuts on there as you want. Or if you're like, I could take or leave the peanuts, don't put a whole lot on there. You can do it however you want to do it. Because y'all know good and well, sometimes when you get a Snicker bar, it's loaded with certain things, and sometimes it's not. It's not always the same, so do it however you want to at your house. But anywho, just keep in mind that you're going to need room for the 12 other layers that we have to add on here. So just make sure that you push your peanuts down into the nougat so they'll kind of hold on, because we are going to have to spread the caramel layer on here. So we don't want peanuts going everywhere. So just make sure that you push them down into your nougat. These candy bars are going to be a lot of you touching them, so make sure you have clean hands and that you don't have an aversion to touching food, because you're going to need to do that. Or if you want to put gloves on, you certainly can, but I mean, I didn't see the point. So now we're going to make our caramel layer. So I'm using, obviously, these caramel bits. You can also use regular caramels, the little square ones that you unwrap. Those bags and this bag are both 11 ounces. I'm using half the bag. So if you use regular caramel, use half of the bag. Make sure that you unwrap them. I mean, I don't feel like I should have to say that, but you know, they put warning labels on blow dryers, like don't use it while you're standing in the shower. So, you know, unwrap your caramel. So I popped that in the microwave for about 30 seconds and then realized that it's not going to get as smooth as I want it to be. So I am going to go ahead and add to this 1 tablespoon of heavy whipping cream just to make it a little bit smoother. Now, you don't want to add too much because we don't want this to be so liquidy that it just runs off of our candy bars. Like, we want this to be a solid layer of caramel on these candy bars. So 1 tablespoon to this amount. Now, if you double it, obviously you may need to add a little bit more, but just kind of use your judgment. And so I'm mixing it up real good until you get your heavy whipping cream mixed in really good with your caramel. And I found this recipe on Pinterest, and then I just tweaked it to make it what I wanted it to be. So I kind of got the basics from Pinterest, and then I just went with what I wanted to do. And it turned out great. So you can also do that. Again, one of the best things about making homemade candy bars is you can do it however you want to do it. If you are watching your sugar, then use sugar-free chocolate chips. If you don't want the salted peanuts, then use unsalted peanuts. Like, you can really customize these. Now, can you make them completely and utterly healthy? Probably not. But you can tweak them to where you can actually enjoy a little bit of it, even if you have a diet that kind of restricts you from certain things. That's what I'm loving about all this homemade stuff, y'all. So spread your caramel out on your bars. It does not have to be perfect. And then we're going to put this back in the freezer for about another 15 or 20 minutes, just until the caramel sets up. Now, you can also just sit these in the refrigerator, but I have a lot to do today, so I'm trying to hurry up and get through, get the sitting parts done. All right, so when you're ready to pull your candy bars out of the freezer, we're going to do one last chocolate layer. So you're going to do about 3/4 of a cup of chocolate chips and 2 tablespoons of peanut butter. We're going to microwave that 30 seconds at a time until everything is nice and smooth and melted. And excuse me, if you're doing this in a 9x13 pan or something, then you may need more chocolate for your top layer, or more caramel for your caramel layer, or whatever the case is. Absolutely adjust that. Don't think that you can't go back in and adjust things if you want more of something. I just had to go with what would fit into my molds. So again, I will link these molds for y'all just so you can see the size, like for size reference, in case you have molds also. But I feel like this makes 8 really big bars. So if you have like a regular size candy bar mold, you can probably get 16 candy bars out of here. Or you can make little mini candy bars. Do it however you want to, y'all. You could make this in a 9x13 pan, do all the layers and then cut them into little bite-sized pieces and then dip those in chocolate. If you want. I'm going to choke to death tonight. If you want to do that, is what I was trying to say. So now I'm just going to take a spoon, because it's a little easier for me to control than my little silicone spatula. And I'm just going to layer a little thin layer, because I was all the way to the top of these molds at this point. But I am being extra, not really careful, but I'm paying extra attention to make sure that the chocolate I'm adding goes corner to corner and everything is completely covered. Because when I pull this out of the mold, I want it to be a solid chocolate bar. I don't want it to have chocolate on the bottom and then a gap where there's no chocolate and then chocolate layer on top. You know what I'm saying? So I went edge to edge to make sure that my chocolate is touching my other chocolate, so it comes out in one solid piece. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. I know sometimes I feel like I talk around the world to say something, but it's just the way my brain processes it. So anyway, once you get everything covered up completely, and it doesn't have to be perfect. This is the top of our candy bar, and the tops of Snicker bars are not perfect anyway. So you can do a design, make it smooth, whatever you want to do to it. Then I'm going to put that back in the freezer until the chocolate's completely set up. Probably, or I'll put it in the refrigerator probably. But anyway, I did it. You just put it in the refrigerator or the freezer until it's completely set up. And this is your Snicker bar. Obviously, I have a little overlap there on the top where the edge of the mold was, but look at that, y'all. Solid chocolate wonderfulness. And of course, I'm going to break into it so y'all can see what it looks like in real time. So that is our Snicker bar. You can see all the layers. We've got chocolate on the top and bottom, our nougat in the middle, some peanuts, and our caramel layer. And it is delicious, y'all. They are so good. They taste just like a Snicker bar. I got to get a little taste. All right, the next one we're doing today is PayDays. This was another highly requested one and also requested by my son. So to a pot, we are going to add 1 1/2 tablespoons of butter, and it is unsalted. And then I'm going to add in here 1 cup of the Reese's peanut butter chips. We're going to add that in there. Then we're going to take that to the stove and we're going to let that heat. I have my stove on medium. It just whatever you want to put it on. I'm not walking away from it. I'm standing there. It doesn't take long to do this. So you're just going to mix that until your chips are melted and your butter is melted and your little mixture is nice and smooth, okay? Just mix it around. Like I said, it takes less than a minute. So then you're going to add in here 1/2 of a can of sweetened condensed milk. Now, I did show y'all how to make your own condensed milk, but I don't have any made right now. So a can is what I'm using, but you absolutely can use the homemade sweetened condensed milk for this. So 1/2 a can, like I said, is what I'm adding in here. And then you're going to stir that up good. And then we're going to add in about a teaspoon of vanilla. Y'all know I don't measure vanilla. About a teaspoon is what I added. Stir that up real good. We want to make sure everything is really good and mixed in. Nice and smooth and yummy. You know, we want it to be all good and mixed. Then you're going to add in here 1 cup of mini marshmallows, okay? 1 cup of mini marshmallows going in, and then we're going to mix this until our marshmallows are melted, okay, and our mixture is smooth again. You can do this in the microwave if you don't want to do it on the stove. You absolutely can do each step in the microwave. I don't have the instructions for all that, but it can be done. So anyway, once it is nice and smooth, you're going to take it off the heat. And I'm using another one of those same silicone molds that you just saw me use. And I cut this recipe in half from the one that I had found. And y'all know I tweaked it a little bit. Anyway, whatever. But I did cut it in half because I already had 8 gigantic Snicker bars. I didn't need 55 gigantic PayDay bars. And I really thought that I would just get 4 PayDay bars out of this. But I ended up getting 8. So I still ended up with a half recipe. I still ended up with 8 of these really big candy bars. And like, I know that y'all are looking at this going, those don't look like really big candy bars, but they are bigger than the store-bought ones. I'm just saying, maybe not quite the size of a king size, but they're pretty big. So then I'm just evenly, I'm putting some of that mixture on top of those peanuts. I wasn't sure, again, how many I was going to be able to fit, so I just kind of, once I did the 4, I just did 1 or 2 at a time until, you know, to make sure I had enough. I didn't want to waste a bunch of peanuts pouring them in there. So you're just going to pour that in there, and then you don't have to be perfect spreading this because, you know, PayDays are kind of chunky, clunky, and round anyway. So I wasn't perfect, and I just put that layer on top. Forgot to set it on my darn cookie sheet. Put it on a cookie sheet, y'all, if you're using these silicone molds because they're very flimsy, a lot of them. And it's a lot easier to transfer things when they're on a cookie sheet as opposed to on a floppy silicone mold. So once you get that mixture in there, while it's still warm, you want to add some peanuts to the top. And it is a PayDay, so you know what? Go crazy with those peanuts. But make sure that you're able to push them down into that mixture. Otherwise, you're going to have the same problem that you have when you open a PayDay candy bar from the store. Peanuts are going to fall out everywhere. And spoiler alert, they do on this too. They do on this too. I didn't get all of them pressed in, so we will have some loose peanuts you'll see when I pull them out of the refrigerator. But it's fine. It's not a big deal. It's still delicious. And these do taste just like a PayDay. But the only difference is these are softer than a PayDay. Now, they're not like mushy like marshmallows, but they are a softer texture than a regular PayDay. So I am storing both of these candy bars in the refrigerator. I put those in there until they set up completely, until that, you know, the mixture that's in the middle cooled down. But you see I had little extra peanuts kind of falling off there, and that's fine if you have that too. Then you just pop them out of your mold, and look, it looks just like a PayDay because it is, except it's better because we made it at home. And then this is what they look like. But you see the texture is soft, but it's not like mushy soft. You know what I'm saying? So that is our PayDay, and I had to get a little taste of that too. You know, I had to let y'all know what it tastes like. But then the rest of it my son is going to have to eat because, yeah, I don't need all this candy. So anyway, that is our PayDay candy bars and our Snickers candy bar. Don't worry, I have the other ones y'all requested coming up soon. But that is all I have for y'all today, and I will catch y'all on the next one. Bye, y'all.